Hello and welcome back to Nerd Doc. Sylvester Stallone's long-delayed superhero film Samaritan has finally released on Amazon Prime Video, and we're betting some people are going to be at least a little bit confused by the ending. This video explains the end of Samaritan, as well as some of the main plot points throughout the film. That means there will be spoilers for Samaritan in this video. There are chapter timestamps, so you can jump around the video as you wish, and if you have any questions about our explanation, theories of your own, or you just want to share your opinion on the movie, leave a comment below. The general premise of Samaritan and how the story plays out is actually really interesting. The execution could have used some work, but the big twist at the end is that the main character, Joe Smith, was not the superhero Samaritan as we're led to believe throughout the entire movie. Instead, Joe is actually Samaritan's twin brother, Nemesis. Let's backtrack a little bit and explain how all this came to pass. Two superhuman twin brothers were terrorized when they were children. Because they were different and accidentally hurt some people with their abilities, their home was torched, killing their parents. There was no retribution for this crime, so Nemesis decided to take matters into his own hands and get revenge on the people of Granite City, which is actually quite similar to the recent depictions of Gotham City, especially from the Joker movie. The only person who could stop Nemesis was Samaritan, and they battled many times throughout the years. Eventually, Nemesis grew tired of his brother's constant interference and forged a hammer made of pure hatred. Don't think too hard on this one. The movie never goes into great detail on their powers, so just assume they have the ability to physically manifest their emotions through blood, sweat, and tears, and forge that manifestation into a hammer. This hammer is the only way that Nemesis can gain the upper hand over Samaritan, because the brothers were evenly matched in every other regard. Nemesis set a fire at the Granite City power station. His intent was to draw Samaritan to the power plant, then kill him with the hammer, so he could then get revenge on the city. While Nemesis' plan worked, what he didn't account for was his feeling of remorse once his brother was on the verge of death. Nemesis tried to save his brother, but it was too late. Given their abilities, you'd think he could just find some water and save his brother, but we'll ignore that potential plot hole. Upon feeling remorse over his brother's death, Nemesis decided to give up on seeking revenge and just lived a normal life as Joe Smith. Nemesis' blind desire for revenge is what killed his brother, and with the earlier loss of his parents, he was now alone in the world. It just wasn't worth it anymore. Nemesis continued to dwell on all of this over the years as his hatred turned into understanding and loss. This is when Nemesis meets Sam and decides to do some good. You can see Joe's growth in the fact that he's trying to fix broken electronics. This is a metaphor for Joe trying to fix himself after everything that's happened. With Sam, he takes that one step further and not only tries to help him become a better person, but then decides to save him from Cyrus and his gang. What started as an uncontrollable desire for revenge turned into hatred for his brother, then into sadness and remorse when his brother died, and finally into redemption and healing when he met Sam. Cyrus always looked up to Nemesis because Nemesis mainly fought against bad guys. Nemesis wanted revenge, but he took his revenge out on the people who deserved it. Sometimes there was collateral damage, but overall he wasn't a bad guy. There are many parallels between Nemesis and someone like Frank Castle, the Punisher. Punisher has no problem killing people, but he only kills bad guys. Sometimes innocents die because of Frank's actions, but this is never intentional. Nemesis was the same way, which is why Cyrus looked up to him. Cyrus didn't have a great childhood, and Samaritan mainly protected the middle class and wealthy people of Granite City. No one looked out for the low-income families except for Nemesis. He killed the criminals that terrorized the slums of Granite City, while Samaritan mostly stayed away unless he was trying to stop Nemesis. When Cyrus finds out that Joe Smith is actually Nemesis and not Samaritan, he's already too far gone to realize that Nemesis is still helping the underprivileged people like Sam. Instead, Cyrus assumes that Nemesis is now just like Samaritan, and therefore Cyrus must take it upon himself to continue Nemesis' original mantra. Cyrus even thought Nemesis was trying to get back at the city when he set fire to the power plant, when in reality it was just a trap to lure out Samaritan. Now let's take a look at what happens when Joe is injured. Joe briefly explains that his healing process has something to do with binary fission and cellular thermal dynamics. Let's start with cellular thermal dynamics. It basically means that Joe's body has to remain in a constant state of equilibrium. The amount of energy his body produces must be expelled in an equal amount. This is what normally happens within his body when he's not injured. However, when he is injured, his body generates a lot more energy in order to heal. That energy needs to be equalized within his body. If it's not, he starts to overheat, his heart works overtime, and eventually it explodes. The water and ice cream serve as a method of cooling himself off. This allows him to expel steam, which is also a form of energy. As the steam spews out of his body, he not only cools off, but this removes the buildup of energy and places his body into a proper equilibrium. Binary fission has a deeper meaning. It could simply be how his body generates so much power, but this could also be a nod to how his twin brother was born. Fission is when a single entity splits into multiple parts that resemble the original entity. This normally happens at a cellular level, but to make it easier to understand, let's look at it from the perspective of Samaritan and Nemesis. Let's just say, for example, that Samaritan existed first. If binary fission occurred within Samaritan, that could cause him to create an identical twin, which would be Nemesis. If this happened at a cellular level, it could have even occurred while their mother was pregnant with Samaritan, causing her to have twins. So what did you think of the movie? Was it a believable story? Was it too bland? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. For now, that wraps up this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who loves anti-heroes and redemption arcs.